Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a while, but welcome back to the Musket Theory series where I talk about the Magical Musketeer deck and, its place in the current meta and provide some deck lists, whether competitive or fun or both, so that you can play Magical Musketeers and have a good time doing it. So, pretty much in this episode, I'm going to talk about the state of Magical Musketeers in this meta. I'm going to give two deck lists, actually. I'm going to give one, which is kind of a more competitive version, which is pretty much not much different than the deck profile I gave last format in terms of competitive, tech choices and cards to deal with the meta, because the meta is not a whole lot different than it was then. You still need negates, you still need to dodge stuff like, Sorcerer Blackout and whatnot. So pretty much we're just going to talk about that, and then I'm going to give you a full new deck profile with actual cards that I have put together right here. I'm really excited about that one because I've been working on that deck for a long time. It's not going to go out and win NYCS, I'll tell you that right now, but it is super fun and it's super flexible. You can change out a lot of cards in this list based on what you have access to, and then kind of develop it further just with some cool ideas. The extra deck is super flexible. The main deck is pretty flexible as well. So I'm really looking forward to that part of the videos. But first, really quick, I just want to touch upon the Musketeer deck in its most competitive form for the current meta. And again, it's going to be pretty much the same as it was before. So let's go ahead and check that out. And here it is, pretty much. What I have going on here is just Musketeers in its skeleton form. I'm playing 3 of each of the good Musketeers, Caspar, Starfire, and Kid Brave, plus 1 Calamity. You can play Doc if you want, that's fine. And then I'm just playing 4 of the Musket spell traps. You can see in the bottom right of the deck list, 1 Crosstown, 1 Desperado, 1 Dancing Needle, and 1 Crooked Crown. Choosing to play the Dancing Needle over the Last Stand this format just because I think banishing follow-up is more important than searching for a spell trap negate for the next turn. That's pretty much it. Since last format we swapped out droplets for Dark Rulers. That's partially because I sold my droplets and now only have access to Dark Rulers, but I think that's going to be totally fine. In this deck, I don't think you need droplets or can afford to pay the discard cost. I do want to try out Kaijus more this format because of stuff running around like Borderland Dragon and the Marincess monsters, and then other kind of tower stuff. I think Ignister is making a little bit of a comeback, so I think having Kaijus in your main, nobody's going to see that coming, and it's going to out a lot of stuff. Alpha Master of Beasts is fantastic with Musketeers, and it's even more fantastic with Kaijus. It's good with Musketeers because it baits negates like nothing else, and you need to bait all the negates to let your max resolve. So yeah, pretty much you just summon Alpha, let your opponent do whatever they want to it, and then hopefully your max will resolve after that. Additionally, with the Kaijus, of course, the main combo with the Kaijus is that you can summon a Kaiju, summon your Alpha, and then bounce both the Kaiju and your Alpha to your hand, so that you can reuse the Kaiju or, have it for next turn or stuff like that. It just keeps up your card advantage, and it's a really awesome combo. We're going to play Nadir, I think, just because if you have to go first, you have to have some kind of play, so having Nadir to search for Ecclesia, to search for Floor is going to be really nice. I'm going to try out the Change of Heart. It's new since I last made a video. Hasn't seen any play in the meta, kind of as expected because nothing really wants to go second. But Musketeer does. This is a going second build, so we're going to be playing the Change of Heart. Talents, I think, is really strong with this deck because, everybody's setting up negates, everybody has hand traps, and you can just resolve talents under a musket for like a solid +2. So that's pretty awesome. World Legacy Succession, if you haven't seen my series before, I love this card in this deck because it gives access to Lib, which I think is very strong in clearing boards as you link climb. So definitely think Succession is the way to go. Cosmics, just a deal to force out Branded in red, or to force out Sword Soul Blackout, or to clear Floowandereeze map and other Floowandereeze crap that you don't want to deal with. Chalice, again, you just need to see effect negates for stuff like M-Pen. You just simply can't play under M-Pen unless you draw Alpha or Dark Ruler or Chalice. So you just need to have as much as possible to deal with that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, so onto the extra deck. We have 3 max. I'm going from right to left. 3 max. The 2 cards you can't see are IP and Akashic Magician. I like Akashic whenever I'm playing Kaijus because I can bounce it back to my hand to reuse them. Playing Lina just for extending because we play a ton of lights. Playing 1 Asa because we can use Alpha to link into Asa to summon something back like Therion King Regulus. You're not really setting up negates yourself, so if you can steal your opponent's negates, that's really strong. So we're just going to play the Asa just in case for that. Nightmare Phoenix, standard, Lib, play it if you can. And then we have Unicorn, BLS Link. BLS Link you can summon at full power using Alpha or using Fleur-de-Lis. Fleur-de-Lis does not lock you out of your extra deck, so if you just hard summon Fleur, you can go into BLS Link like that. Or just Monster Reborn on something like your Kaiju or your Alpha or your opponent's level 8+ monster. Also an option. Then just the standard 4s, we have Access Code and Boral Sword. Both really strong in this deck and have their own place. And I think this deck is really strong with Boral Sword particularly, just to try to OTK going second. And then 1 Avramax. You can go IP Avramax pretty easily if you wanted to, so that's kind of a flex spot. You can switch that out for anything else you want. And then 1 Entis for the Nadir. Not playing Titaniclad because we don't have enough stuff to search with Titaniclad. You're going to go Nadir for Ecclesia. Ecclesia searches Floor, and that's all of your Dogmatica stuff. Not playing Punishment because this is going second deck, so don't really want to have Punishment in your deck going second. You can side it if you want, you know, in case you have to go first as an option, but you do you for that. So that's pretty much the, you know, more competitive kind of standard deck list, more control focused. And now we're going to jump into a live deck list of the deck I have sitting right here, of something really fun, really strong, and, you know, kind of open to flexibility, open to techs. I love Musketeers because it's very flexible and you can pretty much combo muskets with any spell card to have a really cool idea, because any spell card will proc your musket. So let's go ahead and check that out, and yeah, hope you guys enjoy that one. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get started with this deck list. Pretty much every Musketeer idea I come up with is based around some kind of spell card being activated on your Musketeers, and as you can see in this deck list, Trade-In is the featured card of the day. So Trade-In, discard 1 level 8 monster to draw 2 cards. Pretty simple, but when you activate it under a musket, you can obviously get another plus. So pretty much we're going to be playing a whole bunch of strong level 8s that kind of synergize with Musketeers that we can use Trade-In with just for extra draw power, to get into other power cards, to get into our Musketeer back row, or even to just get to a musket. If we fail to open one, we can just trade in one of our level 8s and hope to draw into a musket, because if we don't open one to normal summon, we're kind of screwed anyway. So with that being said, I'm going to get into this deck list. Really excited to show you guys. We'll start with the main, of course, as always. Trade-In, you know, is 3 of the cards. This deck list here, I think I'm holding 45 cards in my hand. You can obviously cut some. There are some kind of meme cards almost, so you can cut those and go with a little bit more solid list, but I want to play these cards just for fun. So let me know what you guys think after this. If you're enjoying this so far, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. I appreciate it. And without further ado, let's go ahead. So starting with the Musketeer cards, or at least monsters anyway. Pretty standard: 3 Caspar, 3 Starfire, 3 Kid Brave, and that's going to be it. This deck is kind of built to one-shot your opponent, so we're not going to need to recycle with Doc. Calamity is probably going to be dead, so we're not even going to bother playing that. We're just going to play the main 9 and hope we draw one with all of the crap ton of draw power we have in this deck. On to the other monsters. 3 Parallel Exceed. So a lot of people like to play this card in this deck because it chain blocks max, which is great. But also if you draw extras, you can use trade-in now. As you can see, you know, we're going to be playing a lot of level 8s that are just generally strong that we can trade in when we're done with them. Playing 2 Godarla, should be 3, but I only own 2 for some reason. And then 2 Gamma Seals. So I think Kaijus are really strong, as I kind of talked about in the previous deck discussion. Godarla specifically for that stupid Flaunderies matchup. I hate that deck, but anyways. I think 4 Kaijus is the right number. These are both level 8. So I would play 3 Godarla and 1 Gamma Seal if I had one more Godarla. But anyway. Then we're going to play the full 3 copies of Alpha. As I already talked about, Alpha combined with a Kaiju is kind of insane. You can out like an entire board with just that. Just Alpha itself outs almost an entire board. You can out like the Sword Soul board of Baron Chichao with just Alpha. You can out M-Pen with just Alpha, just summon it in defense, then bounce itself in M-Pen. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. I think Alpha is just super strong in this deck because it baits negates like no other, and we need to bait all the negates before we try to go into max. So, yeah, that's the reasoning for that. And then the last 2 cards, we're sticking with the Dogmatica package. I really like this package. What can I say? Just going to play the 1 Floor, 1 Ecclesia again. Floor is a level 8. So at the end of our plays, we can, if we search Floor, choose to use trade-in to get 2 new cards. Yep, and that's pretty much it for the monsters. Until the very end, I'm going to show a couple like really spicy techs that we can play, but you know, they're more cuttable, so I'm just going to wait till the end to show those. But yeah, this is the main monster count. That's what, 9, 12, 16, 19, 21 monsters right here. And now let's get on to the spells. So starting with, of course, the 3 trade-in that we already talked about. 3 triple tactics talents. Everything in this deck just baits negates, baits hand traps. So having talents to draw to or talents to take for, you know, link climbing, super strong. It's always going to be live. This is a going second deck, so talents is always going to be live for you. We are going to play the 2 desires. Only thing I'm scared of banishing is Ecclesia, really. But if you banish it, oh well. You just search Floor. You know, chances of you banishing both Ecclesia and Floor are slim. But, you know, what can you do? Also, if you like open Ecclesia Nadir, you can just summon Ecclesia for no effect, use it as link material, and then Nadir will always have Ecclesia in the graveyard as a target. So even if you banish your Floor with desires, you can always add back from the grave, so you're sure to have something you can search. Speaking of, here's the Nadir. And then a whole bunch of 1-ofs because they're at 1. We're playing 1 Duster just for Floodgate support, Mystic Mind support, whatever. Reborn for the extending. Upstart just for the activation under a Musket. Called by because it's really good, and Change of Heart because it can be really good going second. So a real big problem this deck has is having spell cards to activate under your muskets that are not reactive. So pretty much that's why trade-in's good. That's why all the draw cards are good. We have trade-in, desires, upstart. Nadir kind of counts, but not really, because if you just go summon Caspar, activate Nadir, going second, you kind of shut off your entire play. So you really have to save Nadir as a follow-up, or just right before the battle phase to get you a crap load more damage via Fleur-de-Lis. You just wait to bait all the negates, clear their board as much as you can, and then go Nadir as a really strong follow-up. So, yeah, other than that, talents you can't really just activate willy-nilly. They have to activate something for you, but that's not often a problem. So, and then the next few cards, we have the Musket back row cards. So we have, I'm playing 2 Crossdom, 2 Desperado. These are the best ones, so I'm playing 2 of each because we're playing Desires. If we were to cut Desires, we could, in theory, cut these because they're all searchable. Playing 1 Last Stand, 1 Dancing Needle, 1 Crooked Crown. and that rounds out the spell traps. So I think this is all you need, really. This is really good at just clearing boards or drawing cards that clear boards. You want to just use your kaijus to clear the boards because you can't respond to that, and it's pretty awesome. And it revolves around resolving your trade-ins and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I have 2 more cards in hand here that are kind of almost memey, but not really. Like one of them is pretty viable, and that card is Danger Bigfoot. So if you trade in Danger Bigfoot, you draw 2 and Bigfoot pops. So if you were to activate trade in under like Caspar, then like this combo, or any musket here with trade in and Bigfoot is insane. So you trade in the Bigfoot, you pop 1, draw 2, and search. So that's a +2 play right off the top. So really strong. You could play more big feet, I don't know, by cutting something. Again, this is the 44th card. So if you want to cut down as much as you can and still play Bigfoots, you have to lose something. You might lose the Nadir package for just 2 Bigfoot or something. Totally viable option. The last card, potential for the main deck. If there was ever a build to play Zakiel, it's this one. Because you can search Zakiel off of Caspar and then trade it in. So, I mean, it's a total crap card, but it will give you trade-in fodder if you want to keep all of your other level 8s, because they're all much better than Zakiel. So, or you can just summon it off max just to, have more beaters to try to OTK. So, yeah, don't actually recommend playing this card in full competitive mode, but if there was ever a Musketeer build to play this, here it is. If you want to dust them off, let it rip, have some fun, play Zakiel. That's the main deck for you. I showed you 45 cards. Obviously, you can cut Zakiel, cut Bigfoot, cut Nadir package if you want, but I don't recommend that. Nadir is just so strong. Yeah, if you can find room for dangers like Bigfoot and Thunderbird, Thunderbird's another level 8 and pops set cards. So if you have a back row problem at your locals, you can go ahead and try to find that Thunderbird. Next, extra deck, 15 cards, pretty straightforward, 3 max. If you make it 3 turns, the only chance you have is summoning max 3 times, because you're just going to run out of gas so quickly, and max is always just like infinite gas. So in my opinion, you got to play them. Charmers, playing 1 Asa, 1 Win, and 1 Lina. So as I discussed for the previous profile, Asa is for Therion. You can summon it using Alpha as material, Alpha Master of Beasts. Lina you always have lights for. And then Win, since we're playing Parallel Exceed in this list, or like Monster Reborn on Godarla or something, you can summon Win to summon back a Baron, and that's pretty much it. It's just kind of for flexibility or whatnot. We have the space. This extra deck is really flexible, so yeah, might as well play Win. I'm playing 1 Akashic for the reasons I discussed in the last profile. I love Akashic with Kaijus, just to bounce them back, reuse them. And then the last link too is going to be Nightmare Phoenix, because it's staple. On to the bigger ones, we have a Unicorn, BLS Link. We have a ton of level 8s available to us, including Alpha, Fleur-de-Lis. If you have double Kaiju, you can summon 1 to your field too, don't forget, to make BLS, so that's kind of nice. Boral Sword, access code, standard. 1 Appaloosa. So reason being with Appaloosa is if you can clear their board, but you can't OTK, you probably have a board full of monsters. Just go into Appaloosa and hope that it holds them off for a whole turn. Otherwise, you're not really sending up any negates with your board unless you can search a whole bunch of Musket back row. So Appaloosa is kind of just a backup plan. Definitely flexible, definitely cuttable. If you have other ideas, get rid of this first. Same reason being with Abyss Dweller. If your opponent particularly loses to Dweller, you have your Exceeds, you have your Muskets. So if you can't kill them, you can make Dweller and hopefully hold off for another turn so you can kill them next turn. Then the last card is just an Entis for Nadir Servant. So that's pretty much it. That's the 15 card extra. If you do choose to go the Danger Bigfoot route, you can cut like these two, for example, for like rank 8s. You can play like Draglubion, number 97, to go for like the one-shot thing with number 100, and I don't know what else. Or there's Hope Harbinger, number 38. These all just got reprinted in Ghost from the Past too, so they're all super accessible. Or you can play Dingirsu if you think you particularly need Dingirsu as a rank 8 option. So, yeah, these two spots are definitely flexible for whatever the heck you want. You can play Baguska, just, to screw over Despia a little bit. But yeah, other than that, that's about it, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this deck profile, what changes you would make. I'm actually interested in hearing your feedback for my own benefit to play this deck better, because this particular build could use a lot of testing and a lot of innovation, and I'm pretty much just trying to start the conversation of a Musket deck based around trade-in, just for draw power. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you're enjoying, like, subscribe, leave a comment below for sure. It really helps me out. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Thank you for watching.